You're watching the History Fella channel. In today's video we're looking at Winfield Scott. Scott was born on June the 13th, 1786 and would die on May the 29th, 1866. Scott was an American military commander and political candidate. He served as a general in the United States Army from 1814 to 1861. Taking part in the War of 1812 and the Mexican-American War. He also took part in the early stages of the American Civil War and conflicts with the Native Americans. Scott was the Whig Party presidential nominee in the 1852 election, but was defeated by Democrat Franklin Pierce. He was known as Old Fuss and Feathers for his insistence on proper military etiquette, as well as the grand old man of the army for his many years of service. Scott was born near Petersburg, Virginia in 1786. After training as a lawyer and brief militia service, he joined the army in 1808 as a captain of the light artillery. In the War of 1812, Scott served on the Canadian front, taking part in the Battle of Queenston Heights and the Battle of Fort George, and he was promoted to Brigadier General in early 1814. He served with distinction in the Battle of Chippewa, but was badly wounded in the subsequent Battle of Lundy's Lane. After the conclusion of the war, Scott was assigned to the command of the Army Forces in a district containing much of the northeastern United States, and he and his family made their home near New York City. During the 1830s, Scott negotiated an end to the Black Hawk War, took part in the Second Seminole War and the Creek War of 1836, and he also presided over the forced removal of the Cherokee. Scott also helped to avert war with Britain, diffusing tensions arising from the Patriot War and the Aroostook War. In 1841, Scott became the Commanding General of the United States Army, beating out his rival Edmund P. Gaines for the position. After the outbreak of the Mexican-American War in 1846, Scott was relegated to an administrative role, but in 1846 he led a campaign against the Mexican capital of Mexico City. After the capture in the port city of Veracruz, he defeated Mexican General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna's armies at the battles of Cerro Gordo, Contreras, and Churubusco. He then captured Mexico City, after which he maintained order in the Mexican capital and indirectly helped envoy Nicholas Trist negotiate the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which brought an end to the war. Scott unsuccessfully sought the Whig presidential nominee 3 times, in 1840, 1844 and 1848. He finally won it in 1852 when the party was already dying off. The Whigs were badly divided over the Compromise of 1850, and Franklin Pierce won a decisive victory over his former commander. Nonetheless, Scott remained popular among the public, and in 1855 he received a brevet promotion to the rank of Lieutenant General, becoming the first U.S. Army officer to hold that rank since George Washington. In 1859 he peacefully solved the conflict of the Pig War, ending the last in a long series of British-American border conflicts. Despite being a Virginia native, Scott stayed loyal to the Union when the Civil War broke out and served as an important advisor to President Abraham Lincoln during the opening stages of the war. He developed a strategy known as the Anaconda Plan, but retired in late 1861 after Lincoln increasingly relied on General George B. McClellan for military advice and leadership. In retirement, he lived in West Point, New York, where he died on May the 29th, 1866. Scott's military talent was highly regarded by contemporaries, and historians generally consider him to be one of the most accomplished generals in US history.